It's a great try. The old eagle. A little bit too exciting.
Evening, Dan. We will be live slowly, just waiting for Mark to join us, but very good evening to everyone. Welcome to Eagles Chat episode 4 on this wonderful day of memories. It's exactly 1 year ago since we was all celebrating the fact that we'd won the 1895 trophy at Wembley. Yours truly was a bit concussed from an accident he had halfway through the first half. And dehydration, loss of weight. It was a really, really big thing about it. But at the end of the day, we won. We still got the trophy. We're going to be the longest reigning cup winners at Wembley in history. So that's good and good. We hope that you will enjoy tonight's show. On behalf of myself, and first of all, I want to say many, many thank yous to Dan Fowler, to Mark Aston, and to Andrew Senior, who at this moment, through their appearances on the show, we've had over 900 views on the 3 videos of the reboot so far. So altogether, I'm blown away. The fact that before, no disrespect to people, we were getting 20, 30 views of a show. Here he comes now. I can see the Mark Webster clicking in right now. There we go. So we had a great time. And thank you very much for the rebirth of the Eagles Chat. Oh, doesn't someone look smart in his new Eagles Summer Bash jersey?
I do know.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
You all right? Yeah. Which one have you got then?
I got Zach McCombs.
Number?
19.
Ooh. Good. I got Blake's. I got 20.
Good choice.
Yeah, it's a bit tight. When are these play jerseys? They're really, really tight. I mean, I was praying for an XL. I was absolutely, when it come through the letterbox, I'm going, please be an XL, please. And it wasn't. I went, yeah, put it on, nice and comfy fit. And then I remembered, I ain't a player. I'm 51 years old here, and look at this. And I went to, when I did my relaunch of my rugby career on Saturday, I wore it, so it was an interesting day wearing that. Put it that way.
Oh,
how you been?
You started playing rugby again.
I have, yes.
Okay. How well did it go?
Well, let's put it this way: if people around my house yesterday, they thought the bleeding cartoon song "The Witch Doctor" was around my house, because every time I'm walking, I'm just going, oh. I've got to strap my thumb. I think I've torn ligaments in my thumb, so I've got to get strapping for that tomorrow because it's no better. So this is from an hour of touch and pass, by the way. This is a touch and pass between 8 people that turned up. So South, I've got to give a special mention to them. The South London Clippers Masters Rugby League team.
Oh, great stuff.
They gave me a great welcome. What possessed me at my age? But I wasn't the oldest. I'm not the oldest person there. I'm not. There's a guy that's in his 60s. Yeah, it's just crazy. There's a guy that's in his 60s and he's playing, and they just explained the rules and everything about Masters Rugby, and I was just blown away by it. So,
it's competitive. It's good stuff, mate. It's good watching as well. You know.
Yeah, well, they've got problems at the moment because apparently the Masters League are trying to kick them out of the league for no reason. But that'll save for my other podcast, which I do tomorrow night. So I'll get that out of the way. Right, as we know, it's an anniversary today of a certain Wembley visit the 1895 Cup final. What's your memories of the yesterday? Or today, 1 year ago?
What an incredible day! Just mate, everything about it was just perfect. I mean, we know about how the team prepared. They went down the night before. They did all the conditioning stuff. The team prepared, and we went down on the day. We didn't do the whole overnight thing because money and obviously having a young un just made it difficult to do the overnight. So there were 4 of us went down on the day. We got an early train. St Pancras. We met Jimmy Whaling for a beer at Baker Street. Then got the tube up to Wembley. Went in some of the bars just off Wembley Way, and it was just full of Warrington, who of course were playing the Challenge Cup final. And some of the funny looks we were getting when we were turning up with us Eagles, clobber on, and they're like, Sheffield Eagles, what are you doing here? So he said to him, well, we're playing the match after you, and they're like, are you? Oblivious to anything was going on, and so we educated them a bit, and a few of them said, "Oh, well, if we're still around, we'll cheer for you," and things like that. And as luck would have it, we were in the Warrington end when it played out at Wembley. So yeah, I mean, it was a great day. Everybody was in the shorts. The sun was out. £5.50 cheeseburger, £6 pints, another fare.
One person was not in shorts. I thank you very much. I was in a microwave oven with a helmet on my head, so I wasn't in shorts. I can vouch for that.
You were trying to burn some weight off, mate, and we're all grateful for it. You did look to be suffering at one point, but it was all worth it, pal, wasn't it?
I was nobody believes me. I was concussed. It's like a stupid thing. I thought, let's dive over the boards. There's grass at the other side. Yeah, it was after the second try that took us to level. I dived over the boards and pow! I hit the concrete, and I went, this ain't grass. And next minute, I put my hands on the floor at my head, and that's when BBC come in, and John Keir, of all people, said the famous line, he looks like he's had a beer in. I'm like, hey? And then when I watched it back, and I went, I'm out.
Exact thing that John Keir would say, perfect line for him to come out with. Even before the match, some people didn't, but we did go and see the Challenge Cup final first, and we were. I don't mind either Saints or Warrington, but I wanted a good game, and it was a decent game. And as we're in the Warrington end and they won, it made it better. But then when it just all felt very, very surreal. I'd been to Wembley before to watch Wednesday blow the playoff final, and I saw England play there against Bulgaria a good few years back. So I'd been to Wembley before, and just being in that arena, in that stadium, and seeing your rugby team, who play on a school pitch in front of 500 people, run out at Wembley, it was completely and utterly surreal. And the other thing that did it was they were literally about they were 3,000-4,000 witnessed here as well against our small but passionate ramble. And the whole intimidation thing was trying to there. They were singing away, and I'm like, oh, I'd love it if we could shut these up. First off, it was looking a bit, they were a bit on us the first half. But if you'd have said to me at half time we'd go in 6 down, I'd have been happy at that because I thought we were going to get better as it went on. And then when we came out second half, scored almost straight away. Senior turned to me and went, "We've got these. These have had it. They're rubbish." And all the stuff he says, during games. And if he'd have said we'd have kept them to 0 in second half, I'd have never believed you. But then we scored, and then it just, for me, that the one that broke it was the try from when I think it was Blake made the break. Blackmore back inside, and Guzdick put it off to was it Corey where Josh put Corey under the sticks, and that was the one that put us into the lead for the first time. And you could see the Widnes players' heads go down, and you knew we'd got them. We'd at least got them worried. And then I think Aaron scored his second one straight after. And at that point, we were like, we've got them. We've actually got them. And if you watch the game back, Widnes were all over it second half. They were dropping balls. They were making mistakes. And I only watched the entire game back for the first time in ages a few days ago, getting ready for this. And we were we were magnificent in that second half. I can't believe, looking back, just how good we were. I'm not saying that they weren't great, but how good we were that second half. You know, when you consider I don't know if Widnes are full time, but they're basically full time, and we aren't. All the preparation
Well, they
we've
weren't,
done.
were they? They just come out of the doldrums. They nearly went out of existence last year, didn't they?
Yeah,
They were just they were like hand to mouth existence for what they had. So
did retain some of the core squad who have played full time before, like Harrison Hansen and you know, and players like that. And I'll be brutally honest. I didn't expect to win. I thought we were going to play well and stand up, but I didn't think we'd win. But when we did, it was just the most amazing feeling. I mean, a big name like Widnes and it's a tiny name like Sheffield, but when you consider us to them, and the way in which we did it, and after the game, the celebrations just amazing. Everyone was just so obviously over the moon. And I remember we grabbed hold of each other at one point, didn't we, over the catch fence? And they were just people who I'd not seen for ages. Just everybody was hugging you and like can't believe it. Yeah, just amazing. And then from there we finished. We got out the ground back to St Pancras. We actually caught for some Widnes fans on a tube back to London, and they were pig sick. Frankly, they were absolutely pig sick. They were like, "Well done to you, but we can't believe we've lost to you." And we're like, "Well, it's all about the day." And yeah, it was just incredible. And then the train home. I don't really remember a lot about the train home, not for being drunk, but for being just for being euphoric, the adrenaline of it. And I didn't sleep particularly well that night when I got home, and I don't think I did for a few days afterwards. But the train home was we were just sat there and we're just all grinning to each other like we've just won at Wembley again. We couldn't believe it. The thing that really made it for me was the fact that we'd gone through the whole event, the whole tournament, and well, up until Batley, we didn't play at home. We had that game against Fax at Keighley, which we thrashed them, and then the one at Doncaster, I think, was the one that did it. Have you seen that game? Have you ever seen that game? The quarter final at Donny.
yeah,
we were nowhere for an hour.
Last minute.
We were absolutely nowhere for an hour, and I mean we were playing lousy, and I'll get shot for saying so, but we were playing absolutely terrible. Donny were everywhere on us. And I think we were 16 down with 15 minutes left. And Zach says to me, "We've got to get on with this or we've lost." And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, a minute to go, not even that, 30 seconds maybe. We've got a scrum on our 20. And Zach said to me, he goes, "This is going." And I'm like, well, yeah, it's got to go. And it went. And I think a lot of fans thought, we've just done that to Donny. We can get to Wembley. And yeah, you could say we got lucky with the semi-final draw, getting Batley at home. I remember I was actually sat with Matty James and Ollie Davis when the draw was made, and they were delighted that we got Batley at home. And I'm like, great, but we've got to go and win it. I says it'll be an awful shame to get the easiest draw and then blow it. And oh no, we didn't. That semi-final, I remember it. I vaguely remember it. I was quite ill, but I remember it was such a tense game for the first half, but then we pulled it away. And yeah, everything about the way that we controlled ourselves through that tournament, we played fantastically all the way through. And yeah, the final, all the preparation the club did, everything they did, special shirts. I think they had some event going on. There was a comedian in the dressing room or something. I can't remember the details, but the way they went down the night before, they structured it all. And then when they came back, there was the party at the new barrack. Everything about the way we did it was just fantastic, and memories that will live forever. And it's incredible to think it's a year ago. I know we've not played lately because of COVID, but it's amazing to think it was a full calendar year ago. I remember it as if it was a few days ago, and the memories are still that strong. And I think they always will be, in a way, because we don't know if we're ever going to get to Wembley again, do we? We don't know what's going to happen. Competition's going to exist in a few years. Structure's going to change. We don't know what's going to go on. So, live for the moment, and we did, and it was incredible. Loved it.
When did this love affair with the Eagles start? So let's take back to Mark Webster years ago. When did all of a sudden they said I was going to be a Sheffield Eagles fan?
It sort of stemmed. Well, here's a line I say a lot: blame Senior. And the reason you can blame him is because at the start of '99 we were at college together, and I was into Wednesday, and I were going to Wednesday games, and it was rubbish, and it was expensive. And Senior said to me, actually,
Yeah.
come watch rugby because it's dirt cheap. It's at Don Valley. You can have a drink while you're sat at sat in your seat, and it's a good game, and you'll enjoy it. So I was like, okay. And the first time I started going full time, I'd been to Eagles games before, but not really understood the game. And I think I do remember Daryl and Mark coming into our school many, many years ago and teaching us rugby, and I was rubbish at it then as well. And Senior just said, come along and see what you think. So I went to the pre-season game against Hull. We won, but I didn't really get what was going on. But it was only 17 quid for a season ticket for that last Super League season in '99. And so I bought one and we went. And over the course of that year, I picked up what was going on. You know, the last season in Super League wasn't a particularly great year in terms of on-field success. But yeah, I learned a lot about that. And then at the start of 2000, when we formed again and played in the Northern Ford as it was then, you know, it was a lot easier to, games were cheaper, you could go on the train. And I sort of got involved in the culture that way. And, you know, at the time, I was living at home, you know, I turned 18, 19, living at home, not a lot to spend my money. I was working, but not to spend my money on apart from myself. So, you know, I used to go to nearly all the games for a long time. I went home and away, and it just all stemmed from there. And it's 20 years on now, and I don't regret going to that game, to be honest, to watch it. Over the years, I learned how the sport was played. The thing about rugby league, and where a lot of people struggle with it who don't watch the game, is getting into it and learning the rules. And it took time, but I got there in the end. And now I can sit and watch anyone play, and I always enjoy it. And yeah, so been going with that lot, Senior and them, ever since. We met James a few years later on. I think we met in that 2003. And then obviously there was Sean and Scud and everybody who we sort of fell in with, you know, a few years later. And we've just all been tarts ever since. Yeah, God bless. Yeah, and we've just all been looking around ever since. And oh yeah, some adventures. We've had quite some adventures.
Yeah, I think my brain is my memories with the away supporters and all this are just loads. I think I had more fun going to the away matches than I did to the home matches at one bit. I remember my first away one was Wigan. John played a special trophy in 1987. 1988, November. We drew Wigan in the cup in the John Player, and we were winning 8-6, and we were going mental on terraces at Central Park. And then they started kicking in, and we got his ass kicked 34-8. But there was I've just literally just got the program again. So I'm over the moon. I've got this program. So it's just little things. As soon as I look at it, all these memories are coming back, going to Central Park and just being in this wonderful place, one of these bleeding mecca of rugby league, Wigan. And then that's my first away game, and then just kicking on from there. I think Eagles just grew on me something chronic, and then by about 88, 89, I think somebody said, "Oh, you should," because I was playing, and then somebody said, and Tim Butcher was the development officer, and he just said, "Nice." And next thing he wanted some people to do schools, and I was going around with this Aussie guy called Terry that happened to be. He come from Australia, decided to get involved with the Eagles, and he was doing schools with Darryl, Mark Aston, me, Gamel, Terry, and then Tim. And then the first schools coaches, and if this is for the old school Eagles fan, was Darryl Powell and Steve Libbury before Steve Libbury went on to pastures, with Doncaster and things like that. But I always remember the development side of things. Just everybody going to schools and just going, "Who are these? We're teaching you rugby." And then seeing the kids after the first week going, rugby sucks. And then 6 weeks later, hey, we're going to come to Eagles. I always said best thing Eagles ever did was invent the 10 quid ticket for the kids for the season ticket for the first season in first division in '89. The amount of kids we got through that, and then early '90s when we had the successful years, the Division 2 and all the other bits.
Yeah,
just
went through there. It would be even harder to attract the fans.
I remember.
Yeah. It would have been even harder back then because, of course, early 90s when Wednesday United were both having success. So drawing fans away from football would have been even more difficult. Yeah, they did a marvellous job. I remember when I first started going, 98, 99, we were getting crowds of 3,000, 4,000 in Super League, which You know, what we'd give for out like that now. Granted, we haven't got the space for it, but what we'd give for that level of support now, you know, it's it really is quite amazing where it's gone. The
What's your favorite? What's your favorite memories of Don Valley then over the years? I mean, because you were there, like, I mean, we'll do '99 and we'll do all the other bits and bobs. But what's your favorite memories of the old stadium?
Well, funnily enough, I remember being at Don Valley when it opened and it closed. I know it wasn't the first event there, but I remember being at Don Valley for the '91 Student Games opening ceremony because parents took us to it. I was only really young, but I understand that the Eagles played there before that World Student Games. And then I was there, obviously, the last night against Dewsbury when the Bulldozers were there the morning after. My favourite memories of Don Valley. You know what? Everybody used to give it a bad rep for being cold and miles away from the pitch and all that jazz, but I never had a bother with it because Hunslet, Gateshead, York's old ground, they all had tracks and nobody ever complained about them, did they? So that's just me. My favourite game at Don Valley. Cracking question. I remember we beat Barrow in the last minute, 43-42, when Richard Goddard leathered a drop goal from about halfway line to win the most amazing game. I remember the first time we beat Lee down there, about 2007. That was pretty special. I'm trying to think what else. There were a lot of good games. I remember we beat Fev there. I don't think I ever. Every time we played Doncaster there, they used to beat us, so I can't pick on them. I think, to be honest, I think my favourite game, if bit of a wild card here, but 2009 when we were brilliant but also bad because we won 11 games out of 20 but got bonus points in all the ones we lost. Just before end of season, Barrow were top, and I think we were about third. And if we'd have beat Barrow, we were guaranteed to be in the top three for playoffs. And they only needed a point to win the entire league. And we beat them 29, I think it was 29, or I think it's 29-18 or something. We beat them. And we were just incredible. We just played an incredible performance. And we'd beaten the best team in the league. I remember a lot of good. I remember a lot of bad games at Don Valley, but I remember a lot of good ones. I think if I have to pick a favourite, I think there was a couple of last-minute drop goal wins. There were one against Fev from Don Brambarney, and there were one against Lee from Richard Goddard. And I think them two stick in my mind. Also, special mention to the London Scholars in 2003. We beat them 98 points to 4 in the old League 2, what's now Division 3 or League 1 or whatever the hell it's called, Level 3. And it were a boiling hot day. And we should have scored 100, but we got pulled for a forward pass at last minute. And it would have been the first time I'd ever seen Eagles get 100. That game always sticks out in the memory as well. So, yeah, he got a bad rep, but I always liked it there. And when you were talking to other sports fans about Sheffield sport, and you said Don Valley Stadium, they always associate the Eagles with it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, exactly.
They always said, "Oh, that's where Eagles play." They never said, "Oh, that's where Antiques Fair is," or you know, car racing, you know, radio controlled cars, or where they have athletics. They always said, "Oh, it's where Eagles play, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the amount of times Eagles fixtures got switched for a radio controlled car meeting or Antiques Fair on the ground thing. I mean, why can't we have both at the same time? But no, Eagles have got to switch their Super League meeting for the radio controlled car meeting that's taking place on the athletics track underneath the main stand. The Sheffield venues never used to amaze me with the excuses they used to come up with.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Absolutely hilarious to say, "Oh, yeah, we can't play this week."
I remember some Sundays having to kick off at 12 because something were going on after it. And after the game, they were basically ushering us out because there were an event starting at 4 or something. And I remember thinking, this just ain't worth it, is it? But,
one of my favourite ones. Well, it's not my least favourite, but I can remember it. Me and a lad called Simon Lomas used to do schools with, and he was on the apprenticeship.
I know Simon Lomas. He hadn't calmed down.
He had this job. Yeah, he had this job of putting out all the advertising boards before the match. He started at 10 o'clock that morning, and he was still going on his own days. And these are these big, heavy, bloody wooden things. I turns up at 1 o'clock, and I said, "You're all right." He goes, "Can you give me an hand?" And we literally was putting the advertising boards out before kickoff. And then as soon as it finished, venue guy came on, Pat somebody. came across and says, right, before you go home, you're going to take them all away because we've got an event happening later. I'm like, what, tonight? He said, yes, you've got to put them all away. So then we had to take all the parts and put them back away from the thing and put them back inside the stadium. We got home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I remember that. It was just absolute. It was just the stupidest thing. The venue. Well, can't we just leave them? No. And then Kat Etherington came out and said the boards are in the wrong place. You need to put them in the right places. And Simon just looked at her and he went, "Move them yourself." She went, "They've paid money for them boards." And he went, "I am not moving it. I'm on my own. Can anybody come and help?" No. Then it's staying there. It was just like, what the hell? But typical Eagles. Typical Eagles. Remember washing the balls in a sink. I remember washing the match balls before the Division 2 game.
I'm glad you said match balls, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Gary Etherington said, "Hey, Dean, can you do me a favour?" I said, "Sure, what is it?" He went, "Can you go in the sink and wash these balls?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "They're the balls for Sunday." And then took all these balls in the sink, washing up liquid, and I'm scrubbing them. And then he said, "Oh, you've took the markings off. Can you go over in a felt tip and make sure it says mitre properly so it shows up and everything?" And I went, "Yeah." And then next week, Dowell came in and went, "Was it you that did them balls?" Says, "Yeah." "Why?" He said, "I got bloody black paint all over my hands with them bloody felt tips. It all came off. Look. I couldn't get it off. I didn't realize it was a permanent marker." And he said, "Look, I can't get it off. Look." And he's got bloody. You could see the M for mitre on his hand. It was hilarious. I'm like, wait.
I bet he's still got it now. I bet he's still got it on his hand there.
Oh, it just the craziest things. The things nobody ever seems to remember it, but I just like going, "Oh yeah," putting up the boards telling us that there was a game coming, getting bleeding wallpaper paste at Alton Stadium, getting a big piece of paper, just putting it up and going, "I'm covered here, head to foot here." And Gary says, "You're all right for the free ticket now. Don't worry." And I'm like, I'm covered in wallpaper paste here, and he's giving me a free ticket. I want more than a bloody ticket. I want a bloody free meal. We'll sort it out.
Yeah.
I mean, 99 for me. I've got memories of that season for lots of reasons. Has to be the kit man, which is for me was like, I get to be the kit man, and that turned quickly into a nightmare. Certain players pinching in all the kits and things like that, so I had to make do and go up to Mike Turner every week and go, "Come here, with players, they're pinching my kit." Who's pinching it? Every bleeder. Academy lads, the lot. And found out the number one suspect was Dave Watson and Bright Sodgy. They were always at it, them two shits. Always. Oh, swearing. Sorry, disclaimer. But we had the relaunch. You just started supporting in '99, but then we got the end of, this is nearly 21 years ago now, this end of this month. Start of September, if I remember. And then it was September 30th, '99 that they had to announce the merger between Eagles and Eagles and them. Otherwise, the 1.75 million or 1.5 million wouldn't be given to the clubs. It would disappear. So the money that the Rugby League was going to give to the Eagles and that other team, they wasn't going to do it. It wasn't going to happen. So I remember being in the office that week, seeing Tim Adams, doing the Erie experience, if everybody can remember that, the school's experience. And then Ralph Rimmer just telling me, it's over. And I'm like, and this was Friday. This was the 29th to 30th of September, telling me it was over. And I said, "What do you mean it's over?" He said, we're merging with him. And I went, and then all hell broke loose for me. So I think I've spoken to Ralph once since 20 years. So, and I went to London to see Jace.
He turned up, Ralph Rimmer, at the first home game at OLP against Toronto. He actually rocked up. And he were walking around ground and looking around as if to say, "Is anyone going to talk to me?" And funnily enough, no one did. A few people wanted to say things to him.
I went to see London Broncos play that other team, and because Jason, my best mate, and he was down in that area. So I went to support the Broncos. And after that match, Jason just gave me a load of stuff, and he went, "Here, put these in your bag, put these." And he's giving me all this stuff, and I'm like, "Aye, all right." And then Ralph Rimmer went, "Dean Mitchell." I went, "Oh," and stood next to him with Tim Adams.
Yeah.
So my favorite two people of all time stood next to each other, and I turned around and I said, "Hello." And he went, "Oh," he says, "Are you busy? You're looking well." I said, "Yeah, still doing the job I quit the kit man for." And he went, "Really?" I went, "Yeah." And I'm going. I said, "And I've got, I'm engaged. I'm doing everything now." So they're quite a bit from working at the Eagles. And he said, "Hmm." He says, "Do you regret leaving?" I went, "No." I
Oh,
said, "Because if I'd have stayed, look what happened." I said, "I wasn't going to be kept on at the club. You wasn't going to
mm,
keep me on as kit man. So I'm glad I went." But then when Tubby got the message, 99, when Tubby said the reforming, I
mm,
remember the meetings at the Darnell Working Men's Club
yeah,
on Thursday night, saying about the club and everything,
yeah. I remember
and
those.
getting them back together. And God bless Bramley for dropping out of the league, and then we got in. And Mark said this a few weeks ago. I can't believe he come out with everything a few weeks ago. What happened? It was just that was the best interview I've ever heard him come out.
Yeah. Did,
And
did you did you see the stuff that Ian Swire put on? You know
yeah,
from the letters from the RFL and everything. You know, they really didn't. They really weren't that bothered about us, were they?
no,
Really weren't that bothered.
no, they just. I mean, I looked at it like I said to Mark. I said, "What chances have we got?" I said, before we go any further, um, on behalf of myself and everybody connected with Eagles Chat, we want to send our deepest condolences and our deepest sympathies to the family of Ian Annis, the ex-director of the Sheffield Eagles, who tragically passed away last week. Tonight's episode is dedicated to the memory of Ian Annis. The gentleman did so much for schools rugby league, did so much for the development of the game with Sheffield. There's a building in Hillsborough that won't be standing if it wasn't for Ian. I know
Yeah.
that for the cert. He worked his backside off. He got the kids to play at Wembley in 1993. I'm sending my deepest sympathies and condolences to Marion, to Simon, and to Matthew, to all of his family. We send our deepest sympathies, and tonight's episode is dedicated to the memory of Ian.
Absolutely. A
So,
man synonymous with the club and all the way through the history, like you say, he did so much. So,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely, mate.
yeah. We remember having crosswords with him a couple of times, but I
Yeah,
can't fault his dedication and the respect he got. And if he stood up for what he believed in, he went for it. And I think the Sheffield Eagles if Ian Annis hadn't gone to be with Sheffield Eagles, who knows where it would have been. Ian believed in something and he stuck to it. And now God bless him. God bless him for that. An absolute gentleman and legend of Sheffield. If anyone's going to put a legend stone, the Sheffield Eagles, if you ever have a wall with all the legends to go with the club, get Ian's name in there first.
we're supposed to be having one whenever they build this stadium, this stand that we're getting. If ever we get one, they're supposed to be having a physical wall of fame there. And yeah, absolutely, Ali, all the names.
Did you see the report today? Apparently, it was done on the 13th of August when it came out about this gentleman that said about, the stadium is on course. We're all set to go in September. Well, September's next week. Let's see what happens.
Again, I'm going to quote Senior here. Has anybody bought any bricks? No, they haven't. I haven't been past there.
He said that last week.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's one of his catchphrases. I haven't been down there in a while, granted, because I don't go down that way anymore. I've no need to. But nothing's happening. We know it's not happening. And it's getting frustrating because we keep getting told, oh, it's going to happen then, it's going to happen then, it's going to happen then. If you just said to us, it's not happening, we could deal with that and move on. I honestly think that something will, but it'll not be what we've been promised, and it could be far in the future. I just wish we'd get it sorted because it's holding us back. It genuinely is holding us back, and it needs getting sorted out. Even if it were a case of, I know we put in for the rights to develop the site and didn't get it, and even if we could do it ourselves, it wouldn't be all we could afford, but we'd at least get things moving on it. And it's frustrating now because it's portraying the club in a bad light, and with away fans and other clubs. And it's not our fault. It's not our fault. That's the thing. It's not the club's fault. Claffey and that lot are working their asses off, excuse my French, to get this right. And away fans come and they're like, oh, you're going to build this stadium. We're like, well, it's not up to us, mate. We keep getting promised this, that, and the other. And they're like, well, you're a disgrace. You should be thrown out and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, take it up with whoever's building it then, because it's not up to us.
I remember last year when I came up and it was Lee at the OLP. And I was talking to the Lee fans in the pub across the road from me. And they're just saying to me, I said, what do you reckon? She said, well, we've got our stadium. It's a fantastic. I said, yeah, but you don't. I said, you've got to remember the days at Hilton Park. I said, that shed should have been condemned 50 years ago. So don't you dare have a go at this one. This is in development. It's got no control over us. So you can't say, oh, them at Dewsbury have had a new stadium. All these fans that have come out and say, oh, look at state of your stadium. Yeah, look at your old stadium. Batley's, Mount Pleasant. Bloody have to climb Everest to get up the field in one state. Dewsbury's Crown Plaza.
Batley's all right, because what you got to remember about Batley is, yeah, it's at the top of an hill and it's a pig to walk up the hill. But if you catch the Fox's Biscuits factory on a good day, you can smell all freshly baked bread, which is a lovely smell. And the pie and peas when you get to the top is, oh yeah, and the pie and peas when you get to the top is worth the walk, and it's a nice pint at Batley. So yeah. Dewsbury is what it is. It's not changed in 25 years. Fine. Lee, I went to Hilton Park once, and yeah, it's derelict. And then they built the new one, and I don't particularly like that either, mate. It's a nice enough ground, but you can't get to it unless you've got a car, and it's just very boring. There's no atmosphere, and it's not my favourite away game, Lee, to be honest. I much prefer the the more traditional grounds like York's. When we played York at Bootham last year, that were great. What other ones have we got in our league? I mean, Fax is always a decent day out, apart from the fact that you're in Halifax and with their fans. Even the places a bit more mundane, even like Donny and that are all fine. But no, Batley's fine. I've always enjoyed going to Batley, and we always get a good result there anyway. So it's always a bonus.
Favourite away ground?
Right. Now, in what context? Do you mean in rugby league, or I've seen the Eagles play at?
Just your favourite away ground. What is it?
If you want to say what Eagles have played at, it's obviously Wembley, isn't it? But my favourite away ground, probably for everything, probably Halifax. I always enjoy going there. Halifax and Batley are my two favourites. York is good because York's just an incredible city, and I love going to York, and it's a great day out. The problem is the old ground was like nearly in Scarborough, which always made it a bit more tricky. When they played last year at Bootham, that was great because you could walk to it. But yeah, I do like Batley and Fax for everything. They're easy to get to. They've got traditional bars. It's a proper terracing stand you can stand on. You don't have to sit down and all that. And I don't know about you, mate, but I prefer to stand when I'm watching rugby league.
I do.
So yeah, so I'm happy with that. Favourite away games? Do you want to know favourite away games or just away grounds?
Just away grounds or away games. What's your favourites? That's stuff.
Right, away game. Well, the 60-40 at Fev is my favourite away game. I mean, obviously we've had finals and whatnot. Finals, they're all incredible. But for me, the best, like league away game, the 60-40 at Fev, that was just amazing. Never seen a game like it. Just crazy. And they were the champions at the time. I'd beaten us in the final the year before, and then we went up there and put 60 on them, and they didn't even get a bonus point. And that was just fun. And it set us up, because that was the year where we went on to win it against them later in the year, and then held it the year after.
Right, I've got a question for you now.
Oh dear.
Did you swap the two grand finals for the Wembley win last year?
Well, how do you mean? Because we won all the lot. Do you mean if I had to pick between the two?
If it had to be one day, if it had to be one day of them three,
I've got you. Yeah.
Which would it be?
It would be Wembley because of everything about it, and it's Wembley, and it's a knockout tournament. Yeah. Out of the three, it's got to be Wembley, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
The first final I get at Warrington, where we unexpectedly won, was good. The year after wasn't so good because it was at Leeds, but we won that one anyway. But Wembley for everything about it.
Yeah, I remember watching the grand finals on my phone. I remember my PC at home, because I had Premier Sports Player. I didn't have the thing. Andrew Henderson convinced me to buy this Premier Sports Player, and he said, "You buy it, we'll get to the grand final." Yeah, all right. So I bought it, and I'm sat there, and I've got headphones on, literally, I think Windows Vista or something. Yeah. And I'm just watching it, and I'm going, "Go on, lads, go on." And my wife is behind me. She's entertaining her friends behind me. And all she can hear is me going, "God's sake, what's going on?" And she was going, And she went, "It's all right. He's watching his beloved Eagles." And the language that came out of my mouth, and then when we won, I was just bawling. I was just bawling my eyes out. But
yeah, a lot of us were, mate. A lot
Premier
of us were
Sports, eh?
because, yeah, a lot of us were that 2012 because with the fact that we'd, I know we'd got promoted and we'd won that, but it was the fact that after all the years of reforming everything, we'd actually won the league. We'd actually won a final, and for a lot of us, it was the first major thing we'd won in his years supporting him. I know we beat Donny plenty of times for the South Yorkshire Cup, and we got promoted to 2006. We got a trophy for that. But it was the fact that we'd actually won a final. It was the first time a lot of us had seen us do that. So yeah, a lot of us had some tears in his eyes that day. Yeah, great stuff. That was at Warrington, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think when we look back over the existence of the Eagles, I mean, it's the anniversary next week. We've been in existence 36 years. 36 years, September 2nd, 1984. Rochdale Hornets, Oldham Stadium. Yay! Ball boy.
29-10. I've got the match programme upstairs.
Do you know my first word spoken by an Eagles player? I was ball boy, and I think I've told this story a million times. I was on the pitch, and they were playing, and Vince Farrer, God bless him, the prop forward, he only came out of retirement because of the miners' strike, and he needed some money. So Gary decided to said, "Oh yeah, well, come and play for us, and we'll pay you." And they'll give up with miners' strike. So he played, and he's on pitch, and Rochdale kicked for the penalty, missed. I ran, grabbed the ball, and I can't repeat what he said on here, but it went, "Give me that bump, 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 bump ball." And that's all I know. And I went, I'd never heard so many swear words in one sentence in my life come out of one guy. And I just remember looking at him going, I'm not getting on the wrong side of him. And I just threw the ball as quick as I could back to him. And
I think you gave him the ball, didn't you?
To me, I was like, I just said to everybody at our time, I said, "Did you hear that? It's abusing a ball boy." And they went, "Yeah, I don't get." And I got paid 50p for that. 50p for that first season, 50 pence a match. A gentleman gave us 50 pence out of his own pocket. Out of every game, we went to see this guy. Don't know his name, don't know everything. We went to this hut, and he gave all four of us 50 pence out of his own pocket for doing ball boy. Yeah. I remember that. Mental, absolute mental that first year. Just some great memories. I'm so pleased I found the scarf from that first year now. I'm so happy. So I
remember you saying you were going to look for it.
Yeah. I mean, also this week we've had the announcement that we are switching suppliers. No more O'Neill's on the shirts.
I think these kits are fine. Yeah, we're going to a new supplier, and the Pro Fitness Sports or something like that? I forgot the name already.
Elite Pro Sports.
That's it, Elite Pro. They've released some training wear and sort of casual stuff designs, which I'm going to be purchasing a couple of T-shirts when I get a minute because they look really good.
Not done a very good job with the replicas. They didn't do a good job with replicas. I ordered one of these. They're 18 quid at the moment, all replicas. I ordered one.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I ordered one, bought it and everything, and then 2 days later, gets an email. "Sorry, we're out of stock. We're refunding you." I'm like, this is a great start, isn't it? Thank you very much.
But to be fair, they didn't make those. They're just getting rid of the old stock. Yeah. I did try and get one a piece for Harry, but they haven't got his size. The sooner he gets into 4 and 5, it'd be better because you get a more varied range of stuff. But yeah, they're obviously just selling off the old stock. Yeah, it'll be a good thing this because the rep who was in the picture with Tubby, Mike Atkin, I know him from years ago. He used to play touch rugby for Forgers. He worked for Cookery when we had them as a supplier, and also for I think it was Samurai as well, who didn't supply us, but he worked for them. And now he's working for these lads. Good guy, knows the sport, gets it. So we'll not have any problem. And he's a local lad as well. He's Rotherham or something. So we'll not have any bother in that.
Well, they've just designed the Doncaster jersey for next year. That's just been released. That's very nice. That's gone back to the traditional.
That is a good kit.
That's classic. Everybody's calling it Parramatta, and I'm like going, no, that's classic Doncaster. That And they're involved with rhinos and cats, tigers, and things like that. So they're not exactly going in blind as some companies do. They're doing all this stuff, and let's see what happens. Apparently, the kits are going to be released on December the 5th or the 3rd.
Yeah, I think as part of this shirt thing, we get invited to the launch event, which I'll be going to. Are you coming up for that?
Oh yes, I'm bringing the missus. The missus is coming. I'm bringing the wife.
Best behaviour then. And yeah, I'd imagine we'll have probably 3 kits like we do, like the home, the away, and the third when we'll bring it out.
Talking at kits, if you could pick a kit from the Eagles past for the Summer Bash next year, what would you pick?
Oh, okay. Do you remember a few years ago at the Summer Bash, we had that kit with the eagle design into the shirt, like red with gold?
I've got that. Yes, I've got one.
That was actually sort of a send-up of the first shirt we had after we reformed in 2000, which was red with the gold eagle. I absolutely love that design. I'd have something like that because I absolutely love the whole design of the full shirt eagle. Yeah, I mean, I'd have something like that. Or, heavens forbid, I'd try and have, just for the sake of nostalgia, I'd love us to do another kit that looks like the first kit against Rochdale, with the purple. I'd love a kit like that because I love retro shirt designs and I love it when clubs bring back the heritage. But yeah, if I could pick a kit for Summer Bash, that one we had the other year with the Gold Eagle was fantastic, and I'd have something like that again. But I'd imagine the kits for next year will probably be the same sort of drill as we've had, red and white or red and gold of some form. Away kits, we vary them, don't we? We don't really have a set away colour, but I think there'll probably be a third shirt as well. So I'm interested to see what they come up with.
Yeah, I remember when Tubby reformed the club and he said, we want the away colours to be the colour. I don't know if I'm right or wrong with this, but it's what I can remember. He said, I want the away colours to be the official colours of Sheffield. So that's why we had blue and green for a few years. Because I remember that there were a few kits that had blue and green away. And I remember them being there. So that was one of them that's like, hey, hold on. And I remember Tubbs saying that he wanted the official colours of Sheffield. So, but
yeah, we've had some blue and green kits. Yeah, 2003, the away kit was that really weird year where we had the all black home kit, which strangely worked.
So we don't remember. Even on the show, we don't even remember that.
I've got one upstairs, and the away kit that year was a blue and green thing. I think we ended up wearing that nearly all the time anyway, but because it were a bloody hot summer that year and the black was just burnt to death. So I do remember wearing the blue one most of the time. But yeah, I personally, if I had to choose, the red and gold colours for me are more synonymous with the club than the blue and green. I would always have red and gold as your own kit. Blue away kit of some kind. Why not? Because then you've got the contrast of colours. The amount of football teams now that have a red and white home kit and then a red away kit. Or I mean, look at Blades, red and white stripes at home, pink away. What's that about? Or is that third shirt? Is it? I'm not sure. And best of all, it's a pig colour in it, pork pink, and yeah. But yeah,
hey, I'm saying nothing because I know there's some Blades fans watching this. I'm saying nothing. But
they've got to stick the grief to that. a pig-coloured away kit. They've got to stick the grief for that one. And by God, what's going off with Wednesday? We've had enough grief over that. I digress. Yeah, we've got to have a contrast in kits. Like have a very different one. My favourite away kit in recent years was that. Do you remember that green and white one where Missy designed the sleeve? Yeah, that was a great kit.
Yeah, the tattoo on
that
the
was
sleeve.
A great kit. Yeah.
That was a beautiful. Yeah. Why did I sell mine? Why did I sell it?
I thought you'd got that one. You got nearly every other one.
I did have it, but I sold it. I think I sold it 2 years ago. I was a bit short at the time, and I sold it.
Fair enough.
I sold quite a few Eagles jerseys. I've got a cracking collection now. I've just bought another one. I bought the away shirt from the relaunch year 2000, 2001. The white with the blue eagle.
Another great kit. Yeah. We had some good kits, and then we had some good kits then, and then in the couple of years after that, we had some truly tragic kits, and then it got better as we went on. I remember one year we just had this
I don't look back.
red
I
and
don't look
just
back at the
yellow
Macron
there, and it
years.
was just horrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't look back at the Macron years very fondly, unfortunately.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I don't look back at them Macron kits very. The red and white hoops. I mean, Tubbs, God bless your name, but what possessed you to put Eagles to play hoops? I'll never know.
It was like a bad Featherstone, wasn't it? No, I didn't get that one either, but you know.
Well, but no, I think when we look back over the history of, I mean, your history and everything you've done, what do you think? I mean, they've said with the stadium, it's going to be 750 seats now in the stadium. A bit different from the 4,000 seats that was originally said. Now it's going to be 750 seats, and then because that's the bare minimum for the championship, isn't it? For rugby league, that's 750.
Yeah.
So and then get Terrace saying, why don't you just leave one wall, leave one side grass, just leave it grass, be like an Aussie stadium, grass at one side, and then terraces on both sides, and then the stand at the other. I'd put up with that easily. I think it was. I loved going on the grass when I went to OLP. I thought it was fantastic just standing on grass.
Yeah. Dean, that's a thing called common sense, mate. And as we know with Sheffield City Council, such a thing is in very short supply.
Right. Well, my one of my good friends, my sister, her best mate is the ex-Lord Mayor of Sheffield, and we did have a big disagreement about Don Valley closing because I went round. I think it was 2013. I'd just been wrestling. Yep. And I went to meet Mark, and we had a great chat. And I had a chat with him and gave him a jersey I found on eBay that was one of his. And we were chatting about it. And he says, "What do you think to Don Valley?" And I says, "Why? Why? What? Why is all of a sudden a stadium that's just over 20 odd years old going?" He said they've just run it into the ground. And I remember getting out late and going into the old office that we used to have for the development, and just going in and just bawling my eyes out because there were so many memories just walking inside and just seeing things the way it used to be, and just memories came back. And I'll always say Don Valley Stadium was an amazing place. It's got some amazing memories. It's got me, Johnny Lawless, dancing across the pitch, chanting 1,500 bonzers because Eagles had won 3 games in a week. So he got 500 quid bonus. Him just dancing across the pitch for me was one of the highlights I'll always remember. Sitting on the subs bench between the Australian tourists, I had Alan Langer at one side and Paul Seward next to me, and going, me hero, 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 and just blown away. Seeing the Eagles take a 2-point lead against the Aussies in '94, and then not getting a point for the next 79 minutes and losing 80 points to 2 because Bobby Fulton decided to put the full test side out as a punishment because Great Britain had beaten 4 days before at Wembley with 12 men. So we got the full ramifications of the Aussie side. Lee Jackson, my favourite memory, and I don't know if people remember this, it was when we signed Lee Jackson from Hull, and we got him for a steal.
It scored from the kickoff, wasn't it, or something like this? Didn't it score from the kickoff?
No, this was when we beat him. We beat him in the last.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was the first match after Lee joined us. We beat him in the last minute. Mark Gamson scored in the corner to win it, and we were going mental. And all of a sudden, at the dugout where Don Valley were, there was all about 500, 600 Hull fans, all going for Jackson. And Jackson's coming off the pitch, going, and he's going, come on, come on. And they're going, what? And they're giving him abuse I've never seen. And all he kept saying is, look at the scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard. And he's giving it big. And I went, God, Benny. And he got in the dressing room and he went, phew, that was close. But them one, they just some Big Kev when he was still, God bless him. Big Kev when he asked, there were fights on the pitch and they got sent off and he had to separate them coming off the pitch. Just crazy things.
One of my favourites, one of my favourites on Don Valley was in 2009 when I'd done my referees course. I did some fifth officialing, should I say, down at Eagles. And all we were just holding up I was on the Eagles subs bench and I was holding up the numbers, making sure players were coming on and off, and the basic stuff. Yeah. And all them rumours, all them rumours. Oh, I can see you better now. Ooh.
Yeah.
All them rumours that they say about Tubby, on the touchline. Well, I spent near enough 80 minutes alongside him. The other games he was sat in the stand, but this game against Gateshead, I was stood near him for the entire 80 minutes, and everything they say about him, it's all absolutely true. I've never heard so many brilliant comments by a person in my life. And I remember Brendan Lindsay, an amazing player for us. He chucked an intercept pass, and Gateshead scored, and Tubby's like, get him off, absolute garbage. I don't know why I signed him, get him off, amongst other words. And I'm thinking, okay, mate, it's a bit harsh. We're winning 34-10. Yeah, it was a mistake, but, let's get over it. And then literally 5 minutes later, he makes a half break and then puts Johnny Woodcock under the sticks to score. And then Tubby's like, best player I've ever signed, best player ever. What a character. And, yeah, great memories of that. Probably some photos on Facebook of maybe RFL tracksuit somewhere. Yeah, I remember that. But that were good about Don Valley. And opposition players used to hate it. For some weird reason, they were always, it was cold and windy and whatnot. They used to hate kicking it in air. And I'm like, it's sport, mate, But yeah, I like Don Valley. I always did. And it does have special memories, watching the Eagles in the early days. And it saddens me in a way that we've not found a permanent base until now. And even that's a makeshift, isn't it, for the time being?
For me, it's just another bump in the road because when we got promoted, first time we got promoted, and then Gary says we can't use Old End Stadium, and why? He says it's been classed as unsafe. We just played Saints, first match of the season, and we played Saints in the first 89, and then he got told Monday morning that Old End Stadium had been condemned. So it was like, well, what we have, because we've got three. He said we've got 3 away games, and then we've got Bramall Lane, so we don't have to find a home to the middle of October. But Gary being Gary, he had it sorted by Thursday that week where we were going to play, and then he went, "Don't worry, boys, we're playing at Chesterfield, Saltergate." And that's the famous when the announcement went down, and a guy had to go around with a megaphone and a program in his hand, and he was doing all the safety announcements with the megaphone. Peter Sefton was that guy's name. I remember that. Richard Anderson wants to know, my question to Mark is your TV really small or just really, really far away?
Both.
But I think when you said about Mark, I think I don't know whether I was blessed or unblessed. He was the Alliance coach in '99 of the Eagles, and he taught me more than John Kay did about being a kit man, because I was thrown in the deep end. I didn't know what I was doing, and Mark said, "Right, come here 3 o'clock this afternoon. Kickoff's at 7:30, but I want you in here at 3." And I said, "Why?" He said, "I want you. This is how I want you to do on match days." And he taught me sizes for sure. Put the sizes in the right place. Shirts up. This here. This was there. This has got to be done. Everything. He said, make sure everything's done 90 minutes before kickoff, at least. And I went, okay. He says, I'll fine you. I said, what are you about? I said, find me. You can't find me. It's not. It's just, I'll fine you. And I'm like, ooh, all right. And we had so many home games in a row that the time I quit, because I went to Wales to live. We had about 7 home games in a row, and then all this poor kid that took over had to do all these away games. So I had an easy right. But Mark taught me more about being a kit man than John Kay did. John, it was just a case of I want it all done before 2 hours before kickoff. Do the shirts, and I had to go on all the players and write down what size shorts, any things they want, blah blah blah, anything like that. Tubby's was very simple. He wanted a hot, fresh towel every home game. And he used to have all these bleeding towels, and he used to get them washed because the kit used to get done by the Northern General Hospital. So he always had his kit washed he always had his towels and everything washed with the kit. So when it came back, he went, look, fresh towel. Thank you very much. Tight as they come in. Always was the same, but he taught me more about professionalism than with being a kit man and anybody else I can remember.
Yeah.
And telling him I was leaving was one. It was harder telling Mark than it was telling John, because me and Mark had gone back years, And telling him at the start of April '99 that I was leaving was the hardest night ever, because I didn't want to go. I was torn between two places, but I thought, if I don't go, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And it was only going to be 4 months. And then 4 months later, oh, Eagles have merged. Hey, what? I went, what's going on here? I've only been away 4 months. What's going on?
And you got off the Titanic before it hit the iceberg, didn't you? Yeah.
I did, but when I left, it was no different. It was everything was all right from what I can gather. I'd left it in good hands. Everything was set. Ted had retaken over as kit man, and everything was set up for the rest of the season. And then I came back, and it was like, oh yeah, we're merging. Well, what? We sold Keith Senior to pay wages. Hey, excuse me? Yeah, we sold Keith Senior to pay for the rest of the season. And that's when I went, what the hell's happened here? And I knew then that the Eagles had gone, because when they turned around and said Keith Senior's gone to Rhinos, I was like, what? And that was the shock. That was the start of the sinking ship for me. When we had to sell players to pay wages, that's when I knew there was something wrong.
I think the club got too lofty ambitions after the Wembley win in '98, didn't they? They thought they were well above the station.
I called it the Bradford Bulls effect. It was like when Bradford Bulls won it in first year Super League, everybody went to support Bradford Bulls. Oh, here we go. 14,000, 15,000. Nothing against Mike Turner, the commercial manager. Nothing against, well, yeah. But they sat back and expected the Sheffield public to come on a Saturday afternoon to support the Eagles and say, yeah, come on, we're cup winners now, let's go. When we did that parade with the cup through Sheffield, and there was about 400 people out in Sheffield that came out for that parade, that's when the alarm bell should have been starting to ring, and it didn't. Oh yeah, we took all these people to Wembley, but then we've got to keep them, and it just seemed wrong. It just seemed 98 was the best thing that ever happened to the Eagles, but it also was the worst thing. If somebody said to me now, and I'm saying it on air, and anybody can slag me off as much as they want, if somebody said to me, what would you rather have, Sheffield Eagles in Super League now, or the Wembley '98 win, I'd take Super League all the time. Because now we'd have crowds of about 8,000-9,000 at a stadium in Sheffield, week in, week out. The Wembley win was the biggest curse that ever happened to Sheffield Eagles, but it's the best thing that ever happened at the same time. It was just crazy, crazy times. They just sat back and hoped that people were just come and see the Eagles now. But then Eagles started losing. I think we won one match in 7 following Wembley. Mark got injured. Mark had the Lance Todd curse. So it just seems absolutely outstanding that people did this and all that in '98, and we should have built on it, and we didn't. '99 was hard as it was, but halfway through '98, when he announced that Nick Pinkney and Paul Broadbent are being sold, and we've signed Simon Baldwin, Martin Pearson, and Dio Powell in for their replacements, it was a swap. I went, we're getting rid of Beans. I went, yeah. I went, oh. So, but Blake seems to be doing it all right inside of it. He's going to get compared, in it, poor Blake. He's going to get compared to his dad.
Obviously, being Beans' lad is good, but Blake's a good lad, and he will get so much better as he gets on. You know, he didn't have a lot of game time, you know, this year, but I think he will get a lot better. And that's for me, that's the worst thing you can do, is compare a son to the dad. You know, because you know, obviously Corey gets compared to Mark because they both standoffs and, you know, the name, and Blake being a prop's going to get compared to his dad. Obviously, it's a different era, it's a different team, but I think Blake's going to get a lot better as he goes on. As long as we can keep him and nurture him properly, because if he gets too good, he'll be off to Super League, won't he? And then that's one thing. But that's not a bad thing, because then it shows what a good job we've done with him. But yeah, he's definitely getting better.
Yeah. We must hold record for the amount of kids that have followed on from their dads playing for the same club. We've got to be, because we've got Joel Farrell, got Blake, Isaac, Corey.
Isaac as well. Yeah.
That's 4. It's the amount of the old players that have come back and played for the dad's club. We've got to be up there. It's got to be up there. Surely the fact all these kids have come back to the same club as the dads. I mean, Joe's dad, Fazza, joined as a winger, and then within 18 months became a loose forward. Rest is history. But Joe seems to be doing all right, and Isaac, and this year's team, it just seems crazy that this COVID is just at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, we've got the cup for another year, but oh, I just want it back. I just want it back at some point. Somebody made a joke that Eagles won't have to do any social distancing because there's that few fans. We can all spread out anyway all over the stadium.
Well, that's one thing about it, isn't it? If they do allow it next year with reduced crowds, it's obviously not going to be a big deal for us.
I'm having a pod.
Yeah, it's got to be done when it's safe. I'm missing it as much as anybody. I'm sure we all are, but it's got to be safe. And obviously, players are on furlough at minute. We can't really bring them off if we're not going to be playing. Obviously, we were due to play Hull in the Cup, and it would have meant bringing the players off furlough, training for 2 weeks, playing the game, and then I assume going back on furlough. And there would have been no crowds. We'd have had to pay for a stadium. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. So, right decision made there. Let's just wipe it and then go on to next year. I mean, this year's team was promising. The only thing I would say about this year's team was we'd only really got Thax as a proven 6 or 7. Other than that, we were struggling a little bit. So for next year, we definitely need a halfback, and we're not sure if Warren is going to be playing for us again this year. He's left us 4 times, so probably a couple of wingers in there. Zach's gone anyway. He's gone off to Fax, so he was a winger, so we need another one. Lewis Taylor's going. So yeah, I don't blame players for going, but I don't think there'll be a dual reg next year as well. And the reason being that Super League teams, I think, are going to need to trim their squads. Obviously they've got to make cuts because of COVID and money's not abundant. So I think Super League teams are going to trim the squads down to the minimums, and there's not going to be enough players around for doing dual reg. What that then might do is that frees up players to join Championship clubs if we've got the money to pay for them. Because obviously we haven't got the biggest budget, and Tubby's the tightest man in the world. He'll squeeze the pound coin till the Queen farts. So it's just a case of getting the players we need, but we're going to be up against it against other squads. London, Fev are full-time, Toulouse are full-time, they're not a bother, but we've got to compete with the likes of Halifax, Bradford, Widnes for these, highest level, part-time players. And it'll be interesting to see what Tubby comes up with, because Tubby, for all his great qualities, I think his best one is finding young players and bringing them on and making them stars for us. And then obviously they go on to bigger things. The amount of players he's picked up from other teams' reserves, and we've thought, God, who's this? And then 2 years later, superstars. So, that's one of Tubby's big things, and we need him to do that now, especially after what's gone on.
Nobody can pick up a young player up like Tubby. Nobody.
Scott Turner is the perfect example. Jimmy Ford, examples of players that were playing for reserve teams at our level. And then, Scott Turner, I remember we signed him 2011, I think it was. And first game of the season was a friendly at Wakefield. He played at fullback, and he couldn't have caught a cold. And I remember just thinking, good Lord, who's this lad we've signed? He don't look much cop. And then 2 years later, top scorer in division. So, what do we know? Tubby saw it and we didn't. So,
Did you see today that QLT signed for Keithley?
Yes. Keithley are obviously throwing money about.
They don't learn, do they? They don't learn. They nearly go to the wall last year, and all of a sudden now, here we go again, we'll splash cash. They never learn. Never.
Q's a great player, and he's got, he's rightly a legend at the Eagles. My only concern for him, I saw him recently because he lived around the corner from me. I saw him, and my only concern with him is he's 35, and he is past his best. Could he do the job in League One for him? Probably. Could he do a job in the Championship for him? I'm not sure.
No.
So, and there's no sell-on value. They're going to sign him. They're going to pay him a fair bit of money, and then they're going to get no value out of him after that. It's a signing for a signing for me. But I hope he does well for him, because I love Q, and I always have done. Just watch out for his son. If his son's still playing, because I've seen his son playing, good heavens. At 14, he were making us all look stupid. The touch rugby that Jack Howison runs, sometimes some of the lads come down. Ollie Davies and Corey Macklin have come down. And Q came once with his son, Phoenix, and he were 13 or 14, and he made us all look stupid. And I remember thinking, you know, if this lad plays the game properly, he's got a future. Don't know what he's doing, obviously, but yeah, Keith Lee. How many times have they had the begging buckets out in the last 10 years?
It's always the same clubs, isn't it? It's always the same type of clubs, isn't it? It's always
Doncaster, Kingsley, Lee.
Whitehaven.
Facts have run into bother.
Yeah.
And it all stems from the fact that you could even argue the same about us in 2016. It all comes from the fact that they overspend when they can't really afford to, or they overspend looking at, you know, future success that doesn't come. So, you know, that's one of the things why, you know, people are like, oh, you never spend any money and sign good players. Well, yeah, because Tubby's got a budget and that's the budget.
Always seems the same. I can totally agree. I mean, what happens over the next 12 months? Let's see what happens, because if clubs have only got so much to spend, players are going to be saying, well, I'm not playing for that, bye, I'm gone. But will they find somewhere else to go? They won't, because there's not much money out there. Who knows what it's going to be like next year? We don't know. We can't predict. Sorry, we can't predict the future. We don't know.
No, we
Everybody
can't.
said, oh, it'll be over.
Next year.
Yeah, everybody said, oh, this will be over by August and September. Well, guess what? We're in August, September now, and we're still living like this. We've still got masks on our faces, and we're still going to shop. It's just unpredictable times. I've never known anything like it. But God hope everybody stay safe, and we all get back together, and we all have a great time when we meet up again, which one day will be very, very soon. But I just think that when we look at the players that Tubby have signed, I mean, the overseas guys, there's one name that will be synonymous with everything to do with Sheffield Eagles, Jukebox.
Menzie. What a hero. Just
nobody will touch him. Give that guy his own Hall of Fame statue right now. Put him on there. If anybody has got Sheffield Eagles running through his veins, it's Menzie. That guy is Mr. Sheffield Eagles. I love Darryl. I love Mark as much. But over the last 35 years, I'd like to meet a player that has been as loyal and as loved as Menzie. Everybody loves the guy.
Yeah. In his prime, I mean, we're not going to get to brass tacks here. He's past his prime. In his prime, 2012, 13, 14, if he got the ball 25 meters out, it was over. You know, it wasn't a contest. It'd just be palming people away. And it was just unplayable. Just on a level that we'd never seen at this club before. And yeah, we've had foreign players come in, and there's been many brilliant ones, but Menzie, just for the sheer impact and for what he does, it's just, and you could not meet a nicer bloke. No. He is such a great guy. He's been here 11 years. I still can't understand a word he's telling me. But if ever I see him in Hillsborough now, I saw him a couple of weeks ago in Hillsborough, and he were like, Mark, and he wanted to come and shake my hand and put his arm around me, and I'm like, not a minute, mate, not a minute. But yeah, you will never meet a nicer bloke. And you know, the amount of opposition players who've said he was the hardest player I've ever played against, you know, that is the ultimate tribute, isn't it? When your opposition, your peers think so highly of you. Yeah, what a player. And
I think
literally picked him up from nowhere.
Yeah. I think one of the former players of the Eagles always told a great story about playing against big players. Linton Stott. That first Lancastrian signing, I remember that. He came off the field after he was playing against Wigan, and he was playing against Vainga Tugimala. Inga the winger, as they said it. And I said to him, what's it like playing against him then? He went, well, let's put it this way. Normal match, I put my shoulder in, put my tackle, wrap my arms around both arms, or both legs, fall to the ground, no problem. Him, I put my shoulder in, put both my arms around one leg and hang on for dear life, and then see what happens. He said, he is huge. And he says, and when he tackles you, he grabs hold of your shirt, picks you up, and he goes, are you all right, my son? Are you all right? And then lets you go and carries on. And I went, really? He says, he's the nicest guy I've ever played rugby with. He said, I can't believe him. And he's credited with turning Jason Robinson's life around. So Vainga Tugimala. When he'd come, it was one of them things. My dad wanted to see the Eagles. He wanted to see this guy, and fortunately, my dad got to meet him. And my dad was made up that this big, huge Samoan, massive thing. Was spending time with my little dad, and we like that. And my dad's going, "Wow!" And it's one of them moments of brilliance.
I've got a brilliant Menzies story. I'll be quick, but I've got a brilliant Menzies story. When I was doing stats for reserve team, again, I think about 2008-9. I think it was 2009. Reserves had played an away game at Hunslet, and I went up, drove up, and when I was coming back, Dino Thomas says to me, "Do you mind giving some players a lift back?" I went, "Yeah, of course." So I brought back Tanguy Raparte, Dan Hawksworth, and another lad who, forgive me, I don't remember who. And we were just talking in car coming down M1. And I remember saying to Dan Hawksworth, because he'd just gone up to first team to train with first team. And I says to him, like, "How are you finding it?" And he went, it's pretty tough, mate. And I said to him, just in jest, "Has Menza hit you in training yet?" And he went, "No, not yet." And Tanguy just piped up and went, "Man, he will boot you up." And and I'm like, "Is he hit you then?" And he went, "Yeah." Even in training, apparently, he didn't hold back. So I always remember that. But yeah, so many great stories about Menze. And I'm in a way, I'm glad he's still here. He'll probably not play that many more times for us if he stays anymore. But he's got to stay at the club in some form, because everybody looks up to him, everybody respects him, and players can learn from him. So.
And Sheffield Eagles, I said to me a few weeks ago, we own the best guy that does the water carrying of all time, Keith Senior. Can you just imagine it? You're on the sidelines and you see Keith Senior coming on the pitch and he's got water. Get on the pitch, Senior! Get up there! I've got a great story about Keith when he shaved his head. When he just shaved his head, when he first shaved his head, and this is classic because I remember he came in, he just done training. I think it was start of 97, 98. He came into the development offices to hide from the coaches for an hour. Says, "Anybody got a cup of coffee or tea or something?" Yeah. And he got on the stool and he always leant back in his chair. And he leant back and went, oh, gee God, what? Didn't notice the radiator had been turned on behind him and he got a 3rd-degree burn on the back of his newly shaved head. It was like, "Oh God, I've got to go to physio. I've got to go to physio quick." 10 minutes later, he's walking around Don Valley with his bandage around his head with his big thing on the back, and he went, "How'd you do that?" I leant back in the chair and burnt my head on the radiator. I'm like, but he said, "Yeah, shouldn't shave my head, should I? Shouldn't shave my head, should I?" But Keith's another one. Keith's one of the. Where do Eagles find all these bloody characters? I mean, we're full of them. He's from Tubby all the way down to Mick Hayes, who does the conditioning and physio. Yeah. Everybody involved with is always somebody that's got a funny story or somebody that's just a character, full stop. It's crazy. We're the team that shouldn't exist. Yeah.
It's the culture of the club, They're all in it together and they're all great.
I think all in all, it's been, Eagles will always be Eagles. I had Senior on last week, which was funny as hell. He was telling his stories about it. And when he said, "Oh, wait till you get Webster on," I'm like, "Oh, here we go." So that's why I had to get you on as well. Because if he said about it, I was saying, "Well, I've got to get Mark on. I've got to get Mark." I love this new format. I think it's fantastic. It's still that our viewings has gone through the roof now. So I'm
it's great. It's great that someone's doing this. It's brilliant that you're doing this, Dino, because it's keeping everybody, still in touch with the club. Because obviously the people at the club are, filled or whatever. So it's great that you're out there keeping the spirit alive, and it's great to see, mate. Delightful.
Sheffield Eagles will always be me. I'll always be Eagles, no matter what. I'll buy jerseys. I mean, my wife's looking at my jersey collection, going, nice little nest egg there. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I got fingers burnt all the way with a jersey. Sheffield Eagles jersey that was advertised as a match-worn Mark Gamson jersey, signed.
Yeah, and I remember this.
It come back into one of them bleeding replica jerseys that were play away that you bought in the bloody shop. I'm like, well, it's got the centenary badge on the sleeve, so I'm happy at that. This week, it's 125 years of rugby league. If you had to turn around and look about all the things you've done, what is your favourite memory of all your time supporting the Eagles?
I could be really obvious and say the finals, couldn't I? But
Yeah.
one of my favourite memories was when Toulouse were in first time, 2009, 10, 11. I went out there all 3 times. But the second year, 2010, was my birthday weekend, and loads of us went out. I can't remember all the names, but they were literally, I think there were 6 or 7 of us went. Obviously, the usual suspects: Senior, Cuts, me, Scud, Sean, Rob Haynes, Tony Hall. And we spent the entire weekend with Joe's parents, and just everything about that weekend was just amazing because, yes, we were in the pub nearly all the time. And I've never known an away game where after the game you can go to the pub with the Eagles players, the opposition players, the referee, the match commissioner, everyone all in the same place. And we were all there until 2 in the morning on the night of the game, because the game was at 6 on the Saturday. I think we won 32-16. I think it was something like that, but we won. And everybody was in that pub until 2 in the morning. And the look on the bar owner's face on the Sunday morning when we're outside at 11 o'clock waiting for him to open, and he's like, the guy's just like, that last night was, we've never took so much money in this pub, you know. And he said, right, get yourselves in. He got us the first round of drinks, which at €7.50 a pop was very generous of him. That's one of my best experiences watching club, because it was the first time I'd ever been abroad to watch the Eagles play. I mean, I did the Toronto thing. I've done South Wales, Bridgend, but it was the first time I'd ever sort of flown abroad to an away game, and it was, what a great experience it was doing that. Because my furthest away game up to that point, I think, was probably Whitehaven. You know, that great tourist destination. But to go out to Toulouse for a weekend and watch them play and win, what a great experience that was. Yes, we've had the finals, and yes, we've had weird away games, but that one I'll always remember because it was just the first time we'd done it, and it were brilliant. 2009, I think we were the first team to go out there, actually, when they joined, and we were the test experiment. And I remember Tubby on the flight out, another Tubby story. On the flight out, he was just there being very grumpy. Why are we fanning about like this, going out to France? I hate flying. I hate having to drag with players like this. We're not going to train. Food's going to be garbage. Hotel's going to be horrible. Ugh. Anyway, we won. It was 12 apiece. And in the last minute, Ripati made a run down the wing and put Ashley Thackeray on the posts, and we won it last minute. And Tubby after the game, greatest. I don't care what division Toulouse are in, as long as it's ours. What a game! I'm coming here again. You know, and. Yeah. Toulouse away. I didn't go the last times we were there, but I went the first times, and it were fantastic. And that is one of my favourite memories watching this pub. Obviously, there's the games at Don Valley. There's the Wakefield playoff. Not playoff, but the Wakefield qualifiers game at Bramall Lane will always stand out.
Everybody says that. Everybody's been on here says the Wakefield qualifiers when we beat them at Bramall Lane. Everybody says the same.
Just an amazing atmosphere. Again, Senior, I'm mentioning him again. You know, he stood up for 80 minutes and sang Mark Aston's Barmy Army, We Aren't Missing a Step. And I don't know how he did it, but what an atmosphere that game were. That'll always be very special. So many memories, mate. More good than bad. You know, some bad times, but more good. And I wouldn't have missed it for all. I never would have missed any of it for all. My
favorite with you guys. I came up, I think it was the 10th anniversary of the Challenge Cup, and there was Salford at home. And all I remember at Don Valley is Senior standing at, I've got a great photo of him going like this to the ground and we scored. It was you and Mark and you and Senior just standing up, and for no apparent reason kept just going, when I think about you, I'm always, I just can't get enough. And I'm like, what the hell? And you did that the whole game, and I'm like, wow, these guys are crazy. But I love the fact that I was just like, just can't get enough song, just like going, he's going mental. But supporters like you, we can't go wrong.
Last week, did Senior mention by any chance the Lee away game in the 2011 playoffs?
I'll have to watch it again. It might do. I'll have to watch it again, but I don't know if at the moment. Why?
Ask him about that, because he remembers it that well that he had to phone me at 7 o'clock next morning to ask me about it.
I think, like I said to you, I think one of my favorite memories, if I had to do a couple, was the Rebirth versus Chorley, when it was the first match. It was the first match back. We all got on these coaches. We got there. I mean, I'm with my ex-girlfriend there, Amanda, and we all went and just got on the coach. And they was like, we know that. I said, yeah. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what was going to happen. The lads turned on that pitch in Chorley kit because I knew Red Stag kit was a colour clash with Lancashire Lynx, who decided to change their whole colour of their club and didn't tell anybody. So we had to borrow their old kit of blue with yellow bleeding flashes on the sleeves. And we didn't even know the names of the players. That was the thing. We just saw 17 lads that went on that pitch. And that was it. Tubby got his 2 front teeth knocked out. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But funny memories, the best memories, Eagles beating Wigan for the first time. I think 10-5 at Doncaster.
10-5. 95? Was it 94, 95?
Yeah, 99, March 94, 93, 94. It was a year that Bill Gardner took over, and then Gary took back over, and then we went on this unbelievable unbeaten run. And everybody was there. Edwards, Gregory, Hanley, Bobo, all the big names of Wigan. And Tubby just kicked all 10 points. He got the try and he got 2 goals. And I just remember coming off that pitch that day, and I was so proud to be an Eagles fan. But I the only things to know my favourite memories having the Challenge Cup in my house for one night.
Really?
Everybody at the office, everybody arguing at the office. This was about 2 weeks after we'd won. Everybody in the office, we didn't have anywhere to keep the cup. Ralph was saying, I'm not taking it back with me. Mike turned and they went, no, I'm not taking it back. So I went, I'll take it. Anyway, I said, yeah, I'll take it back on Super Tramp. You will not. Yeah, well, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So Jason had to take me home. I got the plinth and then I got the Challenge Cup. Opened the door to my house. I went, Dad, do not be surprised. Went in, and the first thing my dad went, you pinched it. It was there, all ribbons, everything was on it. And then I got up, and this is the best bit, and this is what I'll always love my dad forever. I got up the next morning and went to look where the cup was, and it had gone. I'd gone. The only thing was there was the plinth, and I'm like, oh my God, we've been burgled. Oh no, they're going to kill me. And I'm running around the house, doing everything. And I knocked on the door of my bedroom, opened it up, and my dad's in bed with the cup. And he's like, and he's hugging the cup. And I went, he's asleep with the bleeding. And he said, I can never sleep with FA Cup. I can never sleep with the World Cup. He said, but sleep with the Rugby League Challenge Cup. He said, I'll take that forever. Yeah. I went, I'm surprised you could lift it. He went, yeah, I was surprised at the weight. He was in his mid-70s, and he just lifted it up and just put it on the bed and then fell asleep next to it. And he was hugging the cup all night. It's just these things. It's like, to me, the Eagles have given me a life. They've given people to support. We've got loads and loads of memories. We've got loads of friendships. Toronto's another story. Toronto will always be Toronto. Do you think they're going to go back? Where do you think they're going to go back next year? Champ 1 or Super League?
I'm not sure they will at all, mate. I'm really not sure they will at all. There's too much going on, I think, and it's the age-old story. Celtic Crusaders did the same. It's a great idea, but it's got no long-term. Yes, COVID has wrecked everything for them, but David Argyle having to pull out after what he did, and then the money wasn't flowing. I do feel for players in a way going months without pay. That's not on, because those lads are on a good amount of money, so they've got things to pay for. I'm not convinced they'll come back at all.
It's all the stuff,
especially with Ottawa coming in. There's a good chance. There's a good chance that they'll just say we're going to fold in with Ottawa, and they'll be called Ottawa or Canada Racers or something like that. That might happen. but I don't see them coming back as an entity what they were. And I'm not sure that when we went out there, the support level they had was insane. And I'm not convinced all them people had come back. It's a strange one. I don't see him. I just don't see him coming back at all.
Matty Fozzo will do well in League One next year. I can't believe he'll go from Super League to League One with Ottawa next season. He's too good for League One, Matty Fozzo.
He's far too good, which either means he's not happy at London or they've offered him an absolutely absurd amount of money to go and do that. But I don't know about you, mate, but I'm not convinced that Ottawa will be playing home games in Ottawa. There'll be another Toronto based in Britain for me, because I don't think these travel restrictions will be lifted by April next year or whatever. So I think they're going to be based in Britain.
Yeah. Instead of giving all this money, all this support to a team from Ottawa or New York or Toronto, there's a small county at the top of Great Britain called Cumbria. I would give anything to see a Cumbrian side in Super League at this moment. They can imagine. I mean, I don't care if they've merged together. I don't care if it's Workington, Whitehaven, or Barrow, or whatever it is. Rugby League needs a team in Cumbria in Super League. Forget about the rest. That's what we need. Forget Toronto. Put your money and resources into a strong team in Cumbria, and then they'll see it. Because Cumbria is the biggest heartland of Rugby League by a mile. And it just needs, and I have always loved going to Workington.
Oh yeah.
That pub next to Derwent Park, oh my God, so legendary.
We've had some adventures in Workington for the for the away games. Oh yeah. Once I think it was 2006, I was so drunk, came out of the pub or nightclub or whatever the hell it was about 1 a.m, got in taxi, it said £2.70 on meter. And I said, "Oh, Waverley Hotel, please." And the guy went, "Are you sure?" And I went, "Yeah, of course I'm sure. That's where I'm staying." And he went, "All right." Drove forward, turned right, stopped. Still said 270 on meter.
Oh, fantastic! Well,
yeah, just stuff like that. Like that. You know, they're always memories. But we won 70-10. We absolutely thrashed them that day as well. Sean Lunt, who's now tearing up Super League, was playing hooker for Workington that day, and he scored. I think he scored there 2 tries. And he went on to good things. But yeah, we had a great team that 2016.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if anybody's wanting any signed jerseys at this moment, John Whaling, ex-president of the Rugby League and involved with Sheffield Eagles, he's got some wonderful signed jerseys on eBay at this moment. He's got a jersey that's Mark Aston's from the 1990 Super League that's signed by the team that took the field against Chorley, the first team of the thing. That's on at the moment. I think that's £50. He's got other signed shirts from the last few years, and they're £20 each. So grab yourselves a bargain. Me, if it was up to me, I'd get them, but I'm not into my signed shirts. I've got 2 signed shirts in my collection, which will be getting in a frame very shortly, and then going in my wall in my room where my telly is. So
are you not eyeing either of them up? Are you not eyeing any of them up?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not. I want to wear me. I'm one of these. I'll always wear my Eagles jerseys. I mean, I've got the oldest jersey I've got is Andy Dickinson's from 1988-89 season. I've got that number 3. It's that old. I ain't even got a badge on it. It's just a white one with a red V and a black V, and it says trophy, and it's got number 3 on the back.
Yes, I know that. I don't remember the kit, but I've seen it, and I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I did have Darryl Powell's, but all my shirts and everything I collected up to 2000, and now with Tubby. He's promised me that I will open the new clubhouse, which will happen very shortly, and he'll put them all on display. So I'm very, very. I was like, I didn't realize that when I gave him the shirts 20 years ago that I'd still be sat here 20 years later going, still waiting, still waiting. But to be honest, Joe, I think Eagles, whatever to take the shape next year, in whatever colours we have in the kits, whatever we have playing wise, we'll support them. We'll cheer, we'll boo, we'll go crazy, we'll boo the hell out of Featherstone, we'll boo the hell out of Lee, we'll tell Dewsbury that they're all gypsies as usual. Barrow would be the same because they were at least after what happened with the injuries at Summer Bash last year.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know if I'd be welcome back at Halifax after the comment I made a couple of years ago. I upset a few of the locals. Well, one of them was, I think they were beating us, and one of them was being a particularly unpleasant fellow. So I just told him that they should have built the Shay out of toilet paper because there was nothing in it but.
I think one of my favourite away games, Featherstone. I've always enjoyed Featherstone. I don't care what it's called now. It'll always be Post Office Road to me. There was some fantastic times.
It's whoever's sponsoring it, innit? You know. But yeah, Post Office Road.
Yeah.
It's
But
right.
yeah, I mean, even Tubby told us other week the story about him going to Featherstone. It's fantastic. I mean, we got to know some right stuff. What he told us about when he got told about the merger, and he said that John Kay don't value him as a player. And it's the last 15 minutes of that show is the best bit for me, because literally we're telling about the merger, and he says, "Oh, that John Kay didn't value him. He wanted him to be coach of the Giants, and all this." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And you could see the people in the chat going, "Wow, we hadn't heard this," and it just blew me away. The fact that he just came out, and he just said, "Yeah," it says, "Which me and John's only spoken the last couple of years," and I'm like, "Whoa!" And things like that, just crazy things. But it's all blessed to this little thing called Zoom. This little thing called Zoom.
Should write a book.
So I'm over the moon.
Tubby should write a book about his career. It'd sell thousands.
Tubby's Tales. There you go. Tubby's Tales by Mark Aston.
You write it for him.
Oh no, the best one. Why did I buy a Suzuki Vitara Jeep? Always remember that story. That was one of the best ones ever. He had this obsession of buying a Jeep called a Suzuki Vitara. He bought it. It lasted about 4 or 5 weeks because it kept breaking down and it was useless. And he went, "Worst thing I've ever bloody bought." And he got rid of it within weeks. Yeah. He always wanted this. It was hilarious. Some of the things. Anything to do with the club and
Swire. Yeah. I told Ian Swire he should write a book about his time being chairman at Eagles. Well, I say he should write a book. I offered to write it for him. And I said, all it's going to cost him is an all-expenses paid trip to his place in the south of France, and I'll write it for him. You know, he hasn't got back to me yet on that.
I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can get Ian on the show within the next few weeks, because with Zoom now, I think it'd be great to get Ian on. I think to get anybody from that's involved with the club, with all the troubles and he went through, and everybody else, and it'll be a good thing to hear, just seeing his side of the things and things like that. I'm not going to keep you anymore because it's nearly 29. Longest show we've ever had.
8:36.
8:36. It's crazy. It's absolutely mental. But I can't speak highly enough of this guy. I mean, I'm over the moon with the fact that he's been on the show. It's the same as everything. If you want to come on, you never know. I might message you like I've done Mark, and I've done Andrew, and I've done all the others. I'll just message you. And do you want to come on and chat? Just chat about your experiences. I'm being on the anniversary of Wembley. I've also spent a nice little thing.
I'm going to put some. I'm going to put some pictures on my Facebook of Wembley. I got a few.
Yeah, Rugby League have just done it again, saying, the mascot Sheffield Eagles was a bit emotional on this. Bleeding forgot all about that, and next minute they pre-posted it on bloody Facebook. So hey ho, I'm getting friends requests again. The thing is with that, I got contacted by Rugby AM and some other TV shows, and just said, we want you to come on the show and talk about what happened on the day. And nothing ever happened, but I was like, what the bloody hell? And they said, you beat cancer, for God's sake, and you did that. And I went, yeah, I know, but I beat cancer 5 years ago. And they said, no. I said, it's a great story. It's a great, but well, I was close, but it just gives me another little bit of like going, hey. But end of the day, we saw 17 lads take that picture at Wembley last year.
Yeah,
they kicked their ass. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. We destroyed them. When you start looking at that pitch, and you got all the stewards looking at you going, you're not allowed on the grass. Do not run on the grass. And I'm going, hey. And I think it was somebody that gave me a pint of beer, and I don't know if you were there and saw this. At the end of the match, I'm sweating. I've literally lost buckets of sweat. I'm gasping for the drink. And then this guy says, here, have this pint on me. And I went, oh, pint, yeah. And as I went to grab it, this steward went, no, 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 you do not drink alcohol. That is illegal. And I went, you absolute toad. And he goes, you take that, I'll get you arrested. And I went, I got it in my hands. I literally closed and I went, I hate you. And we went back and I just didn't got any drinks, but Wembley looked after us that day. They gave us about 8-9 buckets full of water balls. It was fantastic what they did for mascots. So, but thanks ever so much for coming on, Mark. I'm blown away the fact you did this. If anybody wants to know, he's great at retro gaming, by the way. He spent a whole day with me in Doncaster last year.
Hey, it got
my gamers.
Made a bit of cash, didn't it?
Do you know how much I really got? Do you know how much I made that day?
When you told it up, go on.
1,600 quid I made from selling.
Oh, excellent.
Easy.
Excellent, mate. Yeah.
And it was still to this day, you want to join me because, I only said to this day that you join me so you could get in for nothing and go and have a look round before anybody else got in. I'll always say that.
I did that. Yeah, I nearly ended up buying that. I nearly ended up buying that Virtual Boy, didn't I? Buddy, nearly bought that.
You went crazy all day.
I want to buy that.
Do I want to buy it? You want to buy it? I'll knock him down. Oh, it's fantastic. If anybody wants to go, it's one of the best days out ever. Doncaster Dome video game fair market. It's fantastic. I just did it. I sold all my games to pay for America. I've got my games back now. I've got consoles back, so hey, I'm happy. But anyway, this is about Eagles, not about gaming. I'd love to do one about gaming at some point. But I just want to say on behalf of me, mate. Thanks ever so much for coming on. I've had some
Thank you for inviting me, Dino. It's an honour as always to speak to you, mate. An honour as always.
Anyway, well, the door's always open for another one. And you take care of yourself, okay?
You too, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate.
Yeah, but take care. Yeah, we've got remote. And there it is, on my own. Right. Just to end the show, a bit on a somber note, but last week we got the news that one of the stalwarts of Sheffield Eagles over the last 30 odd years has passed away. Mr. Ian Annis, chairman of Hillsborough Hawks, chairman of Sheffield Hillsborough Eagles as he was, always involved with Junior Eagles, was one of the stalwarts to get in the Sheffield Skulls to Wembley Stadium in 1993. One of the driving forces behind the rebirth of Sheffield Eagles in 2000. Always there about the development. Did more work than anyone has ever known. If anybody puts legend next to Ian Annis's name, it's not good enough for me. It's not. My thoughts, my prayers, my condolences go to Marion, his wife, his widow, and to his sons, Simon and Matthew. And my deepest sympathies at this time. The funeral will be held on September the 4th. If anybody wants to send flowers, please do so and get in contact with them and see exactly where they go. I can't. Tonight's episode is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Ian Annis. It's only fair. I think that's all in all, the contribution of somebody like that means the world. And he didn't get enough brownie points for me, and for that, I think it should be put right. I know the club will be doing something in the future, and I know we will be doing. I've done something now. I was very shocked when I saw the news, but just like I said, my condolences to the Abbots family at this terrible, terrible time. It's a somber note to end on, but at the end of the day, it's something that has to be said. On behalf of myself, thank you very much for doing this. Over the past few weeks, we've had nearly 1,000 views of Eagles Chat since we did this Zoom, since the Zoom came back. I can't speak. I'm blown away. I'm blown away there by the reaction. I'm blown away by the support, the love and support given by the Eagles, given by you. Let me know. Let me know. I see you once on the show. If you want to come on, please do. Love to hear your stories. Love to hear your chats. Love to hear about everything to do with the Eagles. If you want to talk about 1895 Cup, feel free. Go right ahead. Don't care. Whatever you want to talk about, this is why it's called Eagles Chat. And we'll always be here for you. I'll see you next Monday. Okay? And I'll even smile because I'm going to the dentist this week to have some things fitted. So I'm getting my teeth fixed. Yeah. All right. On behalf of myself, thank you very much for support. Good luck to everyone. Have a great week. Stay safe. Look after yourself. I'll see you next Monday at 7 o'clock. God bless. Good night. Good night.